So the first thing I need to do is to distribute this negative 2 into the parentheses. So negative 2 times r is negative 2r, and negative 2 times 8 is negative 16. So writing that out, I have negative 2r minus 16 equals negative 21. Now I add 16 to both sides, and I'll have negative 2r equals negative 5. Divide both sides by negative 2, and I'll have r equals positive 5 over 2. A negative divided by a negative is going to be positive. So positive 5 over 2 will be the answer. In order for the shortcut to work, each and every term must be a fraction, and they all must have the same denominator, which they do. Their denominators are all 17. When that's the case, you can simply cross out the denominators and rewrite everything that's left, which would be b minus 5b equals 36. Now I combine my like terms. This will be 1b minus 5b, which is negative 4b. We divide both sides by negative 4, and we'll get b equals negative 9. So my answer is going to be negative 9. Like the last one, where we have all the denominators being the same, here they're not, but we're going to make them all the same. Probably the easiest way for you to do this would be to multiply each of the denominators together. Doing so gives you 432. So then what I need to do is take that 432 and see what I need to multiply each of these numbers by to get that. So we will divide 432 by 6, and we get 72. Now what I need to do with that 72 is multiply both top and bottom by that to get my fraction with the denominator of 432. So I multiply the top number by 72 in this one, and I get 72n over 432. Now, what I do from there is divide 432 by 12, and that gives me 36. So I multiply top and bottom by 36. So 36 times 12 is 432. 36 times 5 is going to be 180n. Don't forget to have the n's here for both of them. Now I divide 432 by 6. Remember that's 72. Multiply top and bottom by 72. I'll have 72 over 432 on this side of the equal sign. Now, like the last problem, we have just fractions, all the same denominator. I can cross out the bottoms, and that'll leave me with 72n minus 180n equals 72. Now I combine my like terms. 72n minus 180n is negative 108n. I divide both sides by negative 108, and I'll have 72 over negative 108, which reduces down to negative 2/3. So my answer is going to be negative 2/3. So what we need to do first is distribute this negative into the parentheses. So this will become negative 4n minus 5. Okay, from there, we combine our like terms. 8n and negative 4n are like terms. 8n minus 4n is 4n. From there, we add 5 to both sides, and we get 4n equals 20. Divide both sides by 4, we get n equals 5. And that's going to be the answer. Angie and Kenny play online video games. Angie buys one software package and 2 months of gameplay. Kenny buys one software package and 6 months of gameplay. Each software package costs $35. If their total cost is $206, what is the cost of 1 month of gameplay? The first thing we need to do is establish our variables. Let's have S equaling the cost of one software package and G equaling the cost of 1 month of gameplay. Now we need to create two expressions representing Angie's and Kenny's purchases. So Angie buys one software package, so 1S, and 2 months of gameplay, so 1S, S for software package, and 2G, G for gameplay, months of gameplay. Kenny buys one software package, but he purchases 6 months of gameplay, so 6G. So now we're told each software package costs $35, and Angie and Kenny have a combined cost of $206. So let's add up our expressions. 1S plus 1S is 2S, and 2G plus 6G is 8G. And this amount equals 206, which is their total cost in dollars. Now we're told, again, that each software package is $35. So S equals 35. So let's take the S out and replace it with 35. Now 2 times 35 is 70. 70 plus 8G equals 206. Subtract 70 on both sides, you'll get 8G equals 136. Divide both sides by 8, and G is going to equal 17. And $17 would be the cost of 1 month of gameplay. So to find X, we got to look at our hint, which says the sum of the angle measures of a quadrilateral is 360 degrees. A quadrilateral is a four-sided figure, which this is. If all four angles add up to 360, then it lends the reason that half of the quadrilateral will have a degree measure of half of 360, which will be 180. That means we're going to add these two angles up and set them equal to 180 because the sum of these two angles would be 180. Now we combine our like terms, which is 3x and 5x, and get 8x. Subtract 20 on both sides, I will get 160. Divide both sides by 8, and I'll get 20. So x is going to equal 20 for this one, and that's going to be the answer. So we are solving. Notice how we have variables on both sides of the equal sign. When that happens, I recommend starting with moving the smallest variable, which in this case is 5x. You move it by subtracting 5x from both sides. 11x minus 5x is 6x. So we have 6x plus 15 equals negative 9. Subtract 15 from both sides, you'll get 6x equals negative 24. Then you'll divide by 6 on both sides, and you'll get x equals negative 4 as your answer. A truck can be rented from Company A for $70 a day plus 80 cents per mile. Company B charges $20 a day plus 90 cents per mile to rent the same truck. Find the number of miles in a day at which the rental costs for Company A and Company B are the same. The first thing we need to do is see what we're looking for. We're looking for the number of miles. So we're going to make that x. Okay, so now we need to create expressions for Company A and Company B. Company A can be rented a truck from there for $70 a day plus 80 cents per mile. Since mile is x, per means multiply, it'll be 70 plus 0.80x for Company A. Company B will be 20 plus 0.90x. Now, since we're looking for the number of miles in a day that they're the same means equals, so we set them equal to each other. So we start by subtracting 0.80x from both sides. We'll get 70 equals 20 plus 0.1x. Then subtract 20 from both sides. You'll get 50 equals 0.1x. Divide both sides by 0.1, and you'll get x is 100. So that means the answer is 100. So at 100 miles, the rental costs are the same from either company. Let's solve the equation. So the first thing we're going to have to do is distribute the parentheses on both sides of the equal sign. On the left, we'll have 6x minus 30. On the right, we'll get 5x plus 25. Now remove the smallest variable, which is 5x, so subtract 5x on both sides. Now we'll get x minus 30 equals 25. Add 30 to both sides, and you'll get x equals 55. So the answer for number 9 is going to be 55. Number 10. Determine whether the equation is an identity or whether it has no solution. So the first thing we're going to do is distribute out the parentheses. So we have on the left 2a minus 8 by distributing the 2. On the right, we'll distribute this negative. So we'll have 4a minus 2a minus 8. So now we got to combine like terms on the right. So 4a minus 2a is 2a. Notice how we have 2a minus 8 equals 2a minus 8. These are the same thing being set equal to each other. That means it's an identity. Okay, so for number 10, your answer is going to be an identity. A skier is trying to decide whether or not to buy a season ski pass. A daily pass costs $64. A season ski pass costs $450. The skier would have to rent skis with either pass for $30 per day. How many days would the skier have to go skiing in order to make the season pass less expensive than the daily passes? So first, we're going to write down the expressions for a daily pass and a season pass. A daily pass costs $64, and that's going to be per day. Okay, so 64x. A season pass is just $450. That doesn't depend on the number of days. Now, regardless of which pass you get, it says you're going to have to spend $30 per day to rent the skis. So we have to add 30x to both of them. Now, for the daily pass, since you both have an x, we can combine them, since they're like terms, and we'll get 94x. So now the expression for a daily pass is 94x. Season pass will be $450 plus $30 per day for renting the skis. So now we got to figure out how many days would the skier have to go skiing in order to make the season pass less expensive than the daily passes. Now, to determine that, we need to figure out how many days we have to go by in order for them to be the same price. So we set them equal to each other. Now I subtract 30x from both sides to solve it. I'll get 64x equals 450, and then I divide both sides by 64. Now I'm going to get a decimal. What I get is between 7 and 8. So now I can either round up to 8 or round down to 7. I round down to 7 and I substitute it in for x because those are my number of days. It costs more to get the season pass, and that's not what I want. So if I substitute an 8 by rounding up, we see it's cheaper to get the season pass. So the number of days the skier will have to go skiing in order to make the season pass less expensive will have to be 8 days. So that's going to be the answer.